The views and opinions expressed on the following show do not necessarily represent the views or opinions of the best station.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Comicasters issue 12. I am your co-host, MC Brown.
I'm Eric Lenneberg, joining in. Our guest host, Eric Lenneberg, of the Fast Pitch fame with myself. Thank you.
We appreciate you joining us. And
Anytime. I love doing it.
And as always, we can be reached at Comicasters on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook.com/Comicasters, Comicasters@gmail.com, where all of our feedback can be sent, of course. And we are under the guise of our great producer who shares the great images and ads in between station breaks, Craig Best.
Craig Best, the man.
And all of our shows can be found on thebeststation.net. Click on that Comicasters tab. All of our shows archived. And we got a great one here for you, Doc. Day 4, finishing up our last of 4 interviews with great artists and writers, personalities in the comic business that we had the pleasure and honor to speak on. We're very excited to bring you this last one here, which will be a two-parter. This will be a special edition show. We do a lot of that on the Fast Pitch, and we thank the plugs that we do on the Fast Pitch for the show. This one is with the great Heath Corson. And Heath joined us on a Suicide Squad panel. Myself, Colt Hudson, and Derek Ross. Unfortunately, are not here to record this intro with us, but Derek Ross will be joining myself on this two-segment interview with Heath Corson, and that's from day 4, right near as the Phoenix Comic-Con is wrapping up. And we also want to thank Jeff Tippett. We want to thank Sean Denembrum, all the great staff from Phoenix Comic-Con, of course, for the opportunities for that panel, for the opportunities to be there as press and media.
That's right.
And I cannot thank those individuals enough. I cannot thank these great comic talents, and especially Keith for joining us. Heath gave us a nice long interview here, and it's going to be an exciting one to bring you. So before that, though, Doc, I just want to run down and get a big plug for our Facebook page, Facebook.com/Comicasters, and we've put some great new things up.
I like the artwork you put up there.
Yeah, and besides that, we put a little Thor Ragnarok teaser, which shows a potential Hulk transformation from Mark Ruffalo, who is actually going to be a big part of the Thor Ragnarok.
I love Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, so that's up there. Actually, news for Arrow fans. Great listener Jen H. is a big Arrow fan, and she's given us feedback on Arrow and Flash. Cody Rhodes, former WWE wrestler, and he's had a little feud with the star of Arrow, Stephen Amell, in the ring. Now he's going to guest star in Arrow, so all the speculation began. Who is he going to be playing? That was announced on a panel.
Interesting question.
Yeah, so Cody will be playing a character on Arrow. Scrolling back up, Doc, the U.S. Avengers are here, and this is a roster of patriotic heroes and some new heroes. Squirrel Girl is on the front of this, and she's
Squirrel Girl.
She's a favorite of our great listener Jeremy Kors, his wife Caitlin.
The obvious question, it begs the question to me.
You need to brush up on your comic.
No, I'm not going to make
unstoppable Squirrel Girl.
I'm going to make a comment about a girl named Squirrel.
Squirrel Girl.
And her unstoppable
Rolk,
squirrel.
who is the Red Hulk. They call him Rolk.
Yes.
He's grown like a porn star mustache, and he's touting some guns.
And is he going to work with Squirrel Girl as a porn star?
He is going to not do that. And
Did you say Rolk?
Caitlin is probably going to come after you now. Rolk is how he's called. R-U-L-K.
That's an interesting concept.
It is. So he's the Red Hulk. He's going to be there. Cannonball from X-Men fame, because this team is led by former Sunspot, the X-Men, Robert DaCosta. Some interesting characters in this one. We got a new Iron Patriot, looks like, and some great new characters on this one. So yeah, take a look at that unique roster. We post that on the wall.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, all seriousness.
Yeah, we have a funny Batman kill count from Dawn of Justice. That's a little video that was posted. New video counts number of people Batman quote unquote kills in the latest film. Some funny stuff there, Doc. And as we've been plugging here for the last few shows, you joined us. DC Animated Killing Joke in theaters one night only, July 25th. It's going to be released in early August, I think 8 days later, where you could purchase it on Blu-ray and DVD.
Right.
Exclusive clip from Batman: A Killing Joke featuring the voice talents of Kevin Conroy. And he returns to reprise this role from Batman animated series.
Great voice actor.
Yes, Kevin Conroy's like some will say the quintessential Batman voice. Yes. Great clip we have posted on there. I believe 30 new theaters were also, or actually 30 to 300 new theaters were now
added for this
showing. So this is really gaining steam. This July 25th, you want to get your tickets for this if it's not sold out already, right, depending on what part of the country you are. And finally, this is kind of the bigger news really in there, and this has been released. And I know I'd speculated this character called Riri Williams was going to take over for War Machine.
Yes.
And those of you who have not read Civil War, please pause or go straight to the Heath Corson interview. Well, War Machine dies in the Civil War too. And this character, though, Riri Williams, African-American girl, 15-year-old genius, she's actually going to become Iron Man or Iron Woman. She's going to take over the armor of Tony Stark, and this is kind of something that was leaked and revealed before even Civil War.
I like the whole concept myself.
Yeah, it looks very interesting. Beautiful artwork, beautiful young girl here that they've drawn here. So she's going to don the armor. Yeah, obviously it'd be weird. Probably not going to be called Iron Man. Maybe Iron Woman.
I don't know. But I like
it might be a whole new name. So
I think it would be exciting and entertaining.
Yeah, we post a link to that as well. So. No social media on this show, so hopefully when issue 11, as of record time for this, issue 11 is on the verge of being dropped, so we hope to hear from Jen H. We hope to hear from a lot of, maybe we'll hear from Caitlin Kors if Jeremy shows that, and she'll come after you for your Squirrel Girl insult, so...
Our producer Craig Best is listening. I know as he edits this.
I'm going to give him a picture of Squirrel Girl, so
I hope you will, so that Craig and I know exactly what the joke is.
Yeah,
there. Obviously you're too young.
Well, of course, but you you're going to have nuts thrown at you.
Yes,
a lot of them.
Oh yeah, this is what I want.
A lot of them. And maybe you'll even enjoy it. So, as we get along on issue 12 here, also we want to big plug and thank you, obviously, for our previous guests as well. As of record time, we sat down with the great John Stinsman.
Yes.
And that was issue 9. Issue 10, the great April Reyna. Issue 11, the awesome Barry Kitson. And this, issue 12, Heath Corson. We want to thank, of course, all of our great, the talented for joining us. And there are great segments of Riddle Me This will be back on issue 13, as well as Comic Clash. And here's the thing with Comic Clash. We want you all to listen closely. In this interview with Heath Corson conducted on the final day of Phoenix Comic Con 2016, Heath will give us his Comic Clash suggestions, and on issue 13 I will do the tracker.
That's
the
great.
Complete one. Lot of suggestions, and then we will finally do a vote, and that will coincide with the release of issue 13.
That's fantastic that Heath gave his...
Heath did give it. We made sure we asked everybody, and as we set this up here, and this will go into 2 parts, had to be edited a little bit, so we actually thank Craig. We had some NASA info that we could not air for you, unfortunately, because that was something that Candid guessed during our interview with Keith. I would love to air it, but unfortunately we cannot. But not anything that we don't want to get chased out of.
Right,
we don't want to get attacked by the U.S. government coming after us for.
Yeah, they have enough reasons to do that as it is. So.
Yeah, that's for sure. So. Even that aside, this is an awesome interview with the great Heath Corson, and we want to thank Craig Best for his contributions, not only editing this, but giving you the great images of Heath's great works, as well as a lot of stuff, fun stuff, while we talk to Heath. So, Heath, just to set this up again, and we'll talk about this during the interview with myself and Derek Ross and Heath. Heath, writer of some of the great DC animated features, Justice League War, Throne of Atlantis, Batman Assault on Arkham, which was the main reason why we were on the Suicide Squad panel on with Heath, because that was basically a Suicide Squad story that he wrote for that animated feature. Heath, and a huge plug here, Heath wrote Bizarro, and I've been into that trade now, and I keep saying that, and I'm probably a little more than halfway through it. Just fun read. I can't plug that enough as recommended reading, and even if it's a return recommended read, that will also be back on
I'm going to read that
on issue 13. Beautiful story, fun art, and Heath knocks it out of the park. And King's Quest, which I hope to read very soon too, so that's a big plug for Heath's works. And Heath is just an incredible individual. I told him that to his face and thanked him very much for his graciousness. And I'm excited to bring this interview to you guys, and it's going to be, like I said, 2 segments. Split up with a station break, obviously, of course, so we won't be able to officially close the show. The show will close with us thanking Heath. But I just want to thank you, Doctor, for joining us
anytime,
on this issue
anytime.
12.
You know that. I'm always happy to do it.
And we'll be back with our regular segments on issue 13, and we want to bring this interview to you quickly, so we want to thank you all for listening. Stay tuned here. Very shortly after the station break, we're going to come back with a 2-segment part interview with the great Heath Corson, and we want to thank you all. Thank again Phoenix Comic Con 2016 for allowing us to bring you these past issues, which had a blast there and enjoyed all of the great moments in time that we had at the Phoenix Comic Con. So, for the Comicasters, I'm MC Brown.
I'm your guest host, Eric Lenneberg.
So stay tuned now. After the station break, myself, Derek Ross, talk to Heath Corson. And after the final part, just please stay tuned also for us to come back with issue 13. That will be the following issue, and we'll do all the follow-ups right there. And maybe the doctor of baseball, Eric Lenneberg here, will join us back then.
Yeah, happy to do it.
So thank you all. Stay tuned. And when we come back, it will be Heath Corson here on the Comicasters.
The Comicasters will return after these words.
Assemble Task Force X. We have another suicide mission.
Yahtzee!
Joker stole a dirty bomb and hid it somewhere in Gotham.
Telling me where it is. Now!
Aren't you even going to say hello? If I didn't know better, I'd say you're trying to kill me. It's time for a very big bang.
Something's wrong at Arkham. We've been played. Think any of you have a shot of getting out alive without me?
Just like old times.
Say goodnight! Do it now!
Hello everyone, this is MC Brown here on location at Phoenix Comic Con 2016 along with my co-host
Derek Ross,
and we are here with our fellow Suicide Squad panelist, fellow Chicagoan,
yes,
the writer and producer for such awesome work as Assault on Arkham, Justice League War, Justice League Throne of Atlantis, Batman Unlimited, Bizarro, King's Quest, the great. Well, he's also a criminal mastermind.
That's right.
Specialist in world domination, but one of the nicest guys you will meet. The great Heath Corson. Thank you very much, sir,
yes,
for being
thank
here with
you
us.
guys.
We are excited to talk to you. We had a great panel with you.
We did. I really enjoyed our panel.
Yeah.
Am I all right?
We're good.
Okay. I really enjoyed our panel. I thought we had a really good time talking all things Suicide Squad, pulling out the Ostrander.
Yes.
Did you ever read, you know what I was going to ask you? Did you ever read the book, the Ostrander book that he wrote with Del Close?
Oh, which one would that be?
I forgot what it's called, but there is a book that John Ostrander wrote with the great improv legend Del Close that was so weird and trippy. Now I got to go back and find it. I'm literally thinking of it just now, but I remember mean, I remember I'm meeting Dell, and I was like, that was the thing that I mentioned. So I was like, I want to say it's called Outlander,
yes, I believe that
is it called Outlander?
Or Outworld or Outlander? Yeah, it's very.
It was so weird.
Yeah, or something land or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that seems real. Yeah, we'll have to.
Now I'm gonna have to go look that up
and
talk about that.
So I've not read that one. Actually, it's one of the few things. But I just remember his great work also on Spectre too. And Firestorm.
Yep.
Oh, just Tom Mandrake. I think both of them killing it. He's just awesome at the espionage. So I mean, do you think that he can make the Suicide Squad last 5 years worth of stories with the Squad? That would, in this day and age, probably be unheard of. Making a group of villains last a series for 5 years.
No,
incredible.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Well, now you're lucky if you get to your trade.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you're lucky if you stick. Well, 6.
Yeah,
like they don't green light anything more than a 6. Like you're doing it 6-issue arcs at a time.
Yeah.
Like you can come in and say like, all right, here's what I want to do for 3 years, which is great because we're going to ask you that. But like they're going to go, great. What's the first 6, and then what's the 6 after that? And you're lucky if you get to 2 years.
Yeah. You'll be like, we'll give you the first 6, but everything after that is.
That's right. We'll see how those do.
So, speaking of Batman Assault on Arkham, which I mentioned at the beginning, which was incredible, with a lot of great moments.
Thank you.
Obviously KG Beast, Black Spider. If you bringing back, as we talked about in the panel, Heavy Set Amanda Waller, which is a personal favorite of us both. So, with that, tell us about how that story was pitched, how that came to fruition. Was that I know Justice League War probably came first, right?
Justice League War came first.
How did you actually?
Hydra Bob, you guys. Hey, looking good.
Yes.
Yeah, I found Captain America and already went up to him.
Nice, tell him Hell Hydra.
Yeah, I did that, and he's just like, again, and he turned around and he's like, oh crap.
Looking good, man.
It looks like classic Parademon there too, with the old goggles. Remember those?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, could also post for that. Yeah.
It's a really good question. So I did Justice League War. It's actually very cool.
Yes,
I did Justice League War, and they called and said, "Look, we want to do another one. We want it to be in the Arkhamverse."
Yes.
And I said, "Great. I've played all the games. I'm well aware of the Arkhamverse."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay, cool." And then they said, we want to do a Batman movie with the Suicide Squad. And what I went back to them with was a Suicide Squad movie with Batman that just happened to have Batman in it. And they said, well, why are you pitching that? And I said, well, here's my thought. Whenever I do any sort of movie, you really want to dig into like what the original material is, and the original material in this case is the Arkham games. And I was like, well, you're never gonna beat the experience of playing and being Batman. That's an amazing visceral experience. So to play, have you guys played the Arkham games? Yeah. So to play Batman and go back to that world and be like, now you get to watch Batman, is going to make everyone go, well, this isn't as fun. So I was like, okay, so we need something else. So what if I give you something where there's an entire Batman adventure going on, but when Batman swings away to the rooftop, the camera pans back over to the guys we just beat the hell out of, and those are the ones that we follow. And they were like, oh, that makes sense. Like, I get that. Like, oh, all right. So in other words, like, so you're saying Batman's still in it. And I was like, no, Batman's in it. There's a Batman adventure that we're just not privy to, but it's gonna intersect in like 3 major points. So they said yes to that, and then I was like, okay, it's gonna be, I wanted to do like a Guy Ritchie heist movie with the Suicide Squad. So I wanted it to have all these twists and turns, and they were like, yes, tell us what that would look like. And so then I was home and I'm like, yes, I get to do it. And then I was like, dude, heist movies are hard. Those are hard. Like, you gotta figure out all the twists and turns and work backwards. So I had to work backwards, and I was like, okay, well, what is it? And I was like, okay, what if it's you're going to have to sneak into Arkham to kill the Riddler? And then I was like, okay, now let's work backwards. Why would anyone be doing that? And then why do we not think that's what they're doing? So that got me all the way back to Amanda Waller makes up this thing about the Riddler, and we're gotta go in and we gotta steal the thing, but really she's got one member of the squad, spoiler if you haven't seen it, who is going to assassinate the Riddler. So then it just sort of, and then once I asked, I said, hey, how many toys can I play with? And they were like, well, what do you want? And I was like, can I have the Riddler? They're like, yeah. I was like, can I have the Penguin? They're like, sure. I was like, can I have the Joker? And there was a long pause, and they were like, if you can earn it, you can have the Joker. And so I was like, all right, because if you throw the Joker, which I knew was emotional for Harley, and so I thought, if you throw him in and make him the third act, he derails everything else. And it's a great obstacle. Like, it's just a killer obstacle. So that's the way it sort of came to be. And everyone got signed on board. They asked me, they basically gave me carte blanche on who I could have. They said, who do you want? And I said, I want this, this, this. The only thing that we went back and forth on was who the big guy was going to be. At first I said Killer Croc. And they were like, well, we just did a bunch of stuff with Croc. Can we do something else? And I said, all right, well, what about Blockbuster or Solomon Grundy? And they thought about both of those, and they came back to me with King Shark. They were like, what do you think of King Shark? And I was like, cool. And I like the redesign because in the Arkhamverse, nobody really has superpowers. So they had to redesign him as big guy with jaws. And I was like, that's cool, I'm down with it. So that's how we got the idea and got the story.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That was just one of my favorites.
It was totally one of my favorites, and it was so much fun to write.
Yeah, how did you actually... like when you first got Justice League War was your first DC animated movie. How did you get in there? Like, how did you? I don't want to say slide your way into the DC.
No,
how did you get in?
Definitely was that. Here was the thing. I did a project for Warner Brothers called Aim High, which was a digital project that I wrote and produced with McGee's company that was released digitally, and it was about a high school hitman for the U.S. government. The tagline was "Killing is easy, high school is hard," and it was called Aim High because it means reach for the stars, but also shoot for the head.
Yeah.
So I did that, and it did really well. And they said, "Cool. Well, you can meet whoever you want to meet now." And I was like, "Great! I want to meet the guys doing the DC direct-to-DVD movies." And they were like, "No, you can meet anybody." And I was like, no, that's who I want to meet. So they were like, okay, we'll set you up with a meeting with Alan Burnett.
I have to do another one. I already
Legendary Alan Burnett.
Back to Super Friends.
Super Friends. Smurfs. Super Friends. All the way to like one of the architects of Batman the Animated Series. Unbelievable. So I was so freaked out to go meet Alan. But I met Alan. He read some of my animated stuff that I've done because I've been developing animation for Disney XD, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon.
So you had a good jump on your resume at that point.
I had some stuff on my resume, and he read a script, and he said, look, I don't care if you know anything about superheroes. I just like your dialogue, and I like your characters. I think you're funny, and I think we need that. And the fact that you know superheroes is a big plus as well. So then a year went by, and I checked in with Alan every couple months and stayed on top of it, and finally he came to me and he's like, I think we have something for you. And I was like, great. And he's like, it's Scooby-Doo. And I was like, great, I'd love to do a Scooby-Doo. And then he said, Scooby went away, like a couple days later. And I was like, oh man. And he's like, but I have Justice League for you, and we think you're the guy to like reboot the Justice League for our animated continuity. And I was like, all right. But he said, but before that happens, you've got to go bring your pitch to me, Mike Carlin, and Jeff Johns.
Oh my goodness. So you're like, well, that was really good news, and now I'm
never going to get this job. So I had to go to those guys and basically tell Jeff Johns like how I was going to do it better than his book. I was like, here's how I'm gonna do this animated movie that's gonna be just as good, if not better, than your book. But what I told him, and this was really helpful that I was a fan. There's one of my favorite animated movies, because I was a fan way before I got to do any of these, was Justice League Doom, written by the late great Dwayne McDuffie.
That was the last Dwayne McDuffie one. Yeah, that was
fantastic.
Yeah, that was such
so
a
my
big loss for us.
For War was, if in Doom, this is the League firing on all cylinders. This is all of them knowing each other so well that they're like the best football team. Like, all they got to do is call plays. They got to go, hey, remember that time with the guy on the planet? Let's do that. And they all know what they're talking about. I said, this is the photo negative of that league. this is the day they show up and they have no idea, do I trust this guy? Do I not trust this guy? We're all standing shoulder to shoulder, but are we on the same team? I don't actually know. Like, we've all heard of this Batman. Does he kill people or does he not kill people? We really honestly don't know, so let's keep an eye on that guy. And then, like, wait a minute, who's the Flash? Wait, so I really wanted to play those character dynamics of, like, no, Flash and Lantern know each other, they're bros, they're high-fiving, they're dude bros.
And then throwing jabs at each other.
And then Batman's like, I don't trust any dude bros, so what the hell? And then, you get Superman, so it was really great to build all those dynamics on top of each other and really go, well, who's connecting? Who's clicking? I love the idea that Shazam, that Billy Batson was a fan of Vic Stone as a football player. I was like, that makes sense to me. And then when they're together, Vic's the only one who knows, this is a kid. Nobody else knows that. And then how do you act when you see someone who you think is your ally acting like a 10-year-old kid? Like, that makes people a little nervous.
Yeah, you almost want to shake them a little bit. Just say,
Wonder Woman does. Yeah. Wonder Woman smacks him across the face and goes, you are a warrior, act like it.
Yeah, she doesn't know.
Because she doesn't know.
Yes, very good. The dialogue, just like it's funny you said that, the dialogue is what was so great, I think, about Justice League War. We'll get into Throne of Atlantis shortly, speaking of Aquaman.
I know, Aquaman's getting some pictures taken.
But for those of you who don't know and can't see this, Derek Ross is dressed like Aquaman.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm not a fan of the Wonder Woman look, and I know you have nothing to do with that. But the dialogue was very strong, and then to tie it back into that, to the story, obviously, well, let's finish first before we go back into that, but we're going to ask some questions at Throne of Atlantis after we finish the Justice League War story, obviously, which I
think that was the end of it.
Once they gave you everything, you pretty much...
I had to bounce all those things off of those big guys. And then the only other wrinkle that I think you get a kick out of is they sent me to Outline, and they called me, and they said, oh, yeah, you can't have Aquaman. And I said, what? They said, you can't have Aquaman. And I was like, what? But Aquaman's in the comics. You want me to do the comics? And they're like, no, you do whatever you want. You're going to have Shazam.
Yeah.
And I was like, they told me that before that meeting, and so when I had to pitch that stuff. But I never knew why I couldn't have Aquaman until I got to the end of the movie, and they were like, oh, we're giving Aquaman his own movie. And I said, oh, I hope I get to write that. But of course, nobody knew that. So when the solicitation came out, everybody just saw that Shazam's on it, and like all the Aqua fans came after me. Like, they came after me, and they were MFing me on Twitter, like, F you, bro, like, why would you take Aquaman out? Like, you're an idiot. And I couldn't say, like,
yeah, you can't say I can't.
Oh, there's going to be an Aquaman movie.
Yeah. So you have to just take it.
So I had to just take it until the movie came out, and even then they're like, I hate you. You suck. There's no Aquaman. I was like, did you get to the end? Like, in the end, Orm comes up with he literally says, there will be a movie after this with Aquaman. And they were like, oh, I didn't watch it all the way to the end.
Oh, jeez.
Guys.
That's just typical.
Yeah. But then the only one other thing that happened is they did call me, and Alan said, are you sure you need Flash? I was like, yes, don't take anybody else away from me. Stop it. And then the other thing, I was like, I was like, don't take any more, buddy. I'm going to take. And they were like, well, we just did a thing because they had just done Flashpoint Paradox. And I think they thought, oh, maybe there's too much Flash. People are tired of it. What if we pulled them out?
But they'll just release another Batman and Superman one every other release, right?
So I was like, well, let me earn it. Let me lay it out, because I think you really need that voice in the league. Like, he plays a major role. Not just from the superhero aspect, from guy behind the mask. And that was really how I took all of these things, is like, I deal with who the people are. And then you deal with what the action and the superheroes are. And that's really my take on all of it. You got to really deal with them as people and who they get along with and what they're fighting for and what their motivation is. Otherwise, you're just dealing with flat heroes, and you're not going to connect that way.
Flash is like an everyman too.
He's the He's the fanboy. He's us. Where he sees Batman, he's like, "Oh my God, you're Batman! Like, you're awesome!" And then Batman says, "Like, you do really good work." and just as sort of a F you to Green Lantern. It's like, you do good, like, what does he say? Says something like, you do tight work, or tight something work. And Flash is like, oh my God, Batman likes me.
Yeah, because the Green Lantern Batman dynamic you had was very good.
I love that. I think it's so funny.
Green Lantern trying to, getting close with the Batman has nothing to do with it. He's like, hey man, like, it's the hell, we're supposed to be on the same side. He doesn't really know. He's just a guy, and you're just a normal guy. He's like, well, can't believe it. Like, I got this ring, or Superman. And here's a normal guy in a bat costume walking around.
I had him. I think one of my favorite lines is he calls him Spooky. I think Green Lantern keeps calling him Spooky.
I love their interactions. Wasn't it in Throne of Atlantis where they're early on, where Batman's chasing some crooks, and Green Lantern's like, "Come on, man, we got a meeting.
I'm just gonna do it for you."
And Batman's like, "You're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
They were gonna lead me to where I needed to go.
Right.
You don't understand anything."
Yes. And he's like, no, this needs a little more finesse than what you do. It's not about, and that's actually the theme of the whole thing. It's like, it's not about hitting something as hard as you can. And that's the thing Lantern needs to learn in this story, is like, it's not about brute force. It's not about just being
huge.
Right. So they think of the Scarecrow's guys, and he smashes them up and he gets them, and he's like, great. So where's the thing that, where's the aerosol component of the Scarecrow gas? And he's like, great. Where's the Scarecrow hiding? And he's like, exactly. I don't need your help.
You may have the most powerful weapon in the universe. I don't need you.
You're an idiot. It doesn't help if the guy wearing it is an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really neat way to look at those two guys, and for for him to ram it home that Lantern needed to learn something and not just be a douche with a ring.
Which
is where he starts. And then people got mad. They were like, oh, Green Lantern's my favorite guy. He's not a douchebag with a ring. I was like, yeah, but he could start there. That's certainly an interesting place for someone to start. Because I know a lot of 22-year-old dude bros that if you gave them the most powerful weapon in the universe, that would be pretty lame.
They're going to be obnoxious.
They're going to be horrible.
Well, and that's how he starts out, though.
That's how he starts out.
He starts out as a douche. Then he gets a ring. Now he's a douche with a ring.
Now
he has to grow from there,
By the way, look for my new book, Douche with a Ring.
Oh, that's when you get a hold of Green Lantern by himself. So we progress here with, obviously, Justice League Throne of Atlantis. Sorry, I didn't want to cut your story off at the end, so go too far. So it's also incredible, besides being incredible Aquaman story, one of the best, I think, post New 52 inspired stories.
Thank you.
I especially enjoyed not only the scene with inebriated Aquaman talking to the lobster, which was hilarious, but the great use. I don't think
I can't be the only person who knows that alcohol is dehydrating. And it would really affect Arthur. I was like, I'm not the only person who could have ever done this, right? And I think I couldn't have
remember anything.
I can't remember anything like that. And it was such a jarring thing, because our version of Aquaman is a brawler. He's lost. He's a man of two worlds. He doesn't know who he is.
Doesn't fit in.
And he's just lost his father, who literally is his lighthouse in his world. And it's metaphorically and literally. And he's lost. And the only thing he knows is to fight and to be a brawler. And so to have that guy drinking and just... I thought that was a really interesting way in. And thank you for calling that out, because it's one of my favorite things.
It was great. But one thing I always remember from this too is just, and I don't know how much influence this was, if it's all you, but it was just incredible. It was the great use of superhero CSI in that story. I love that.
When all of them,
really updated it. Like you said, they were working in cohesion. Boom, boom, boom. Everybody knows their role, and then
and the game is
incredible because they've never seen anything.
The game is impress Batman.
All
right. That becomes the game. If they're all like, I want to throw something in, and at first Green Lantern's like, nah, I don't need to do that, and then he's like, it's a barrel roll, because he's the flight guy, he's the pilot, and so he's like, okay, I'm in. And Flash is like, I'm a CSI, I can do this, I'm pulling in all this stuff, and then everybody starts going, wait a minute, I know this, and wait, I know this. That was very much inspired from Identity Crisis. Crisis from Brad Meltzer's Identity Crisis, where everybody sort of was working the Sue Dickley crime scene. So that was really what I wanted to do, but I also wanted to show how these guys have now started to work together another step. But again, I don't think I'd ever seen anything like Cyborg being able to project the holograms of that world. That was something that I just sort of dug, and I was like, oh, maybe we could do that.
That was very cool, because he took them back into the crime scene and the footage.
I thought he replays it from his own hard drive, but it's literally reenacting it all. And I thought, oh, that's a really neat way for us to go through that. Yeah, that was a cool way for us to do that.
Did you have any background or extensive knowledge of the CSI, or did you just pulled that one?
No, I just pulled out what I was like, it was the same sort of thing. I worked backwards. I was like, what would each person bring to it, and how then can we build that sequence?
Yeah, that was incredible.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
It's ingrained in media when I'm done watching it. I'm like, it's so damn cool. And you're using the CSI stuff in there. Like, I've never seen that, but it's so modern that you would imagine that they would be doing that.
Totally.
And the 52 new updated thing, they would of course be doing that.
Right.
I was just
well, and then Batman's the world's greatest detective, so he's like, what do you guys got? Let's throw it in there. Let's do this.
Detective agency.
World Detective Agency. That's right.
Well,
WDA. My new book coming this fall.
Heath, we're going to take a quick station break, if that's okay with you. And of course. Continue asking you some questions. We come back.
Not a problem.
So, our great producer Craig Best might strangle us. So, we're going to go to a station break, and we'll be back with the great Heath Corson.
The Comicasters will return after these words.
Sonar has inbound, sir.
Coming in hot.
They look like people.
Brace for impact.
By the gods.
Every day the surface dwellers grow stronger. They have guardians with powers.
I say, we break the seal on the Atlantean war plans.
Our only hope for peaceful existence with the surface dwellers is with the one who is of both worlds. My other son.
What are you?
I wish I knew, pal.
They will destroy this planet and take Atlantis with it. We must protect our people and attack!
This is genocide. Billions will die.
Find Arthur Curry. Fast. Is Atlantis everything you dreamed of, brother?
This is your birthright, Arthur.
Amen.
Join me, and we will bridge those worlds in peace. Kill the humans! Attack! I will cleanse the surface. This is war!
He needs a code name. Well, online they're calling him Aquaman.
Hate that.
Aquaman it is.
What's up, Batman?
Say hi.
And we are back here
No.
on the Comicasters with the great Heath Corson, myself, MC Brown, along with
Derek Ross.
And we're sitting here, we're shooting the breeze with Heath Corson, the great writer and producer of DC Animated. Awesome. Also wrote Bizarro, King's Quest, and we're sitting here talking.
King's Quest with Ben Acker of Thrilling Adventure Hour.
Yes.
My dear friend Ben Acker brought me in on this one, and we're having a great time doing King's Quest. So check it out. It's all the King's Features heroes teaming up. So you got the Phantom, Mandrake, Flash Gordon, Prince Valiant. What you found out is that in the last series they had to run, and they left Dale Arden in the clutches of Ming, and they turn around and they're like, we've got to go back. So they pack everybody back up and fly back, only to find that they are 2.5 years later.
Interesting.
And now what has become of Dale, who, I will spoil the first issue, is now Dale the Merciless.
Interesting little twist there.
Yes.
So the Defenders
really
of the Earth.
fun. It's the Defenders of the Earth. Only we've got Lothar now as the stand-in Phantom, and a new Phantom who is the rightful heir of the name, who's very worried that she's not going to be it. So her and Lothar are both Phantoms until she officially takes the mantle.
Very cool.
But you find out that Lothar really likes being a Phantom, and like maybe isn't ready to give it up, and it's really interesting. Nice. Another really cool storytelling device is one character sort of walks us through the voiceover of each issue. So you get to be in the head of a different character every issue, so it's really neat. We start with Jen Harris, who is our young Phantom, and it's really, really cool.
Now, is this how many issues in?
We're one issue. I think the second one comes out this week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then we're going to do 5.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, yes, you get
So come check that out.
Very hard to come by in our neck of the woods.
I heard.
Arizona. So, yeah, we heard Heath off the air saying Jesse James of the great Jesse James Comics saying there are no copies in the state.
There are no copies in the state.
Yeah, that is incredible. And
so make sure you ask for it or get it on Comixology or ask your local store for more.
Or, maybe if you ask Heath nicely online, plug his thing, we'll see what he can do for you.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, that's not going to happen.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Sorry.
So Heath, we're going to get back to some of the other comics, like in general, like what stories inspired you as a child, or what? When did you know you wanted to get into this?
I was as a kid, I loved comic books. My very first book, I remember the Blue Ribbon Digest that they used to sell in the supermarkets. That I always thought was so cool because for like $1, you got like 10 stories, and it would be like, here's 3 1950s Batman stories, here's 3 1960s Batman stories, here's 3 1970 Batman stories, and here's one from the 80s. Or I think it wasn't even the 80s when they came out, it was probably 70s when they came out. But I remember, and this is what's interesting, I would read those in different ages and respond to different stories at different times. So when you're a kid and you're 7, the 1950s stories are great because they're silly and they're big, and there's 10 different flavors of kryptonite, and Batman and Robin are trying on different outfits, and they wear like the white outfit and like the rainbow color outfits, and they're just goofy. And then you get to the 60s and they're out there, and there's like trippy stuff where they would swap bodies, and like Lois Lane is now in the body of a gorilla, and it's like, oh my god. And then as you get older, you're like, I'm done with those. But then you go and you look at the 70s and the Denny O'Neil and the Neil Adams, and you're like, whoa, these are gritty, and Batman's a detective, and this is hardcore stuff. So for every age, it spoke to me in a different way. And when you're a kid, you're like, I don't like this dark Batman, I don't get it. So I never thought I was going to be able to do anything with these guys. There was no part of me that would ever like, I'm going to get to write these characters that I love. They always felt like that's stuff that really awesome people get to do, I never thought I was going to be able to do that. I was a guy who read Watchmen in real time, and I remember going away to camp for 2 months, and I made my dad promise to go buy issues 11 and 12 and send them to me at camp.
Right at the end,
and I know. Thank goodness he didn't look at them, because there's no way he would have sent them to like a 10-year-old kid.
Well, that's the beauty of it, because comics can be deceiving, because and I'm growing up, very similar era as yourself, is they're just happy I'm not doing drugs or anything.
Right.
You're sitting home reading a comic book. A lot of that stuff is adult stuff. I'm reading Suicide Squad as a teenager. Stuff too, and that's just it's dark stuff.
It's dark
characters dying and stuff. So it's like
84, 86, we had some darks. I mean, like Watchmen, V for Vendetta, Dark Knight Returns. Like there was some pitch black
pretend
stuff.
Even probably you as well would pretend that our parents were bad parents. They just, they didn't know what we were reading.
They didn't know what we were reading.
So it was just like, maybe if you read it, you wouldn't want us to read it. But, hey, I'm not going to tell them what's in there. I'm just going to enjoy it in my little corner and enjoy the hell out of whatever I'm reading. But yeah, some of the stuff was,
yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't be reading it, but
I was
enjoying the
fan
heck out of it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so I was a fan of like Alan Moore, Grant Morrison, Neil Gaiman, Sandman stuff. I thought was fantastic. Kurt Busiek, huge influence of mine. I finally got the nerve to go walk up and tell Kurt how much I loved him. He did a project called the Liberty Project, which was like one of his very first comics, in Eclipse. And I read that one and I was like, this is a great book. And he freaked out when I was like, I mentioned Liberty Project. I gave him a copy of Bizarro. It literally took me all day to walk up and tell him how much I liked him. Great.
Hero, though, an inspiration for you.
Mark DeMatteis, great storyteller.
Loved him in the Justice League with
Geffen doing Ambush Bug, Gerber, Englehart, like huge influences for me. So I grew up just loving all this stuff and having it all knock around my brain. And then luckily enough, I couldn't believe that I get to do what I get to do. Like it's really, when they give me somebody that I go, really? You're going to let me break this toy? You're sure? But I'm just so thankful that I get to stand on the shoulders of great creators, and that's the great thing about comics is and doing these characters is that you are standing on the shoulders of the great people who came before you.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, we talked about a little bit about how you got your big break, and that was great. But when did you know you wanted to do something like this?
I was young. Like I always told stories. Like even when I was a kid, I would be doing my own fan fiction. Like I played Dungeons and Dragons, which was a great way to tell your own story. And we played the Marvel superhero role-playing games, and I was always the dungeon master, and I would be putting together my teams or my stories or the master plans. And I think that was really one of the ways that I started building my own plots and bouncing them off my friends. And you're the Fantastic Four, and here's Doom's next big thing. And I just loved writing. And even though I'm a very lazy person, and it scares the hell out of me every time, just staring at the blank page. Like I'm a writer who hates writing. Like sitting down and looking at the blank page scares me every time, and it never gets any easier.
Just want to tell the story, probably, right? I'm sure, because I feel the same thing.
It never gets any easier. Every time you're like, well, I've done this before, but you go in the back of your head, this is the day the creativity is not going to show up.
Right.
Every time. But yeah, so that's sort of, ever since I was really young, I've known I wanted to do this.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully, we haven't seen anything that has stopped. So we're just rolling along with a lot of great stories.
I love it. I love it.
And as Derek said, and we had talked about the big break in DC animated. In comics, is it just a transition kind of that way, or did you which way? Which started first?
The animation started first.
Animated started
and
first.
And I basically leveraged the animation to get a shot at doing the comic books, and even then took another 18 months. But I was promoting Throne of Atlantis at New York Comic Con, and I said, I basically went to an editor and I was like, look, promoting my movie in your booth. Don't you think I could get a shot at doing the comics? And he was like, well, what do you think? And I said, well, I want to do this, this, or this. And I had to do a whole pitch process, and luckily something stuck. But I knew I wanted a shot after doing a bunch of these to maybe get into comics. But it was one of those things that I never thought I was going to be able to do.
Is the process be pretty similar? Obviously, a movie you'd think would be, you're looking at action sequence and mapping it out differently, but you do that in a comic too. Would you say is either one more difficult, equally difficult? What would you?
Comics was a little more difficult for me because my pacing was so different, and there's little things like you can have characters nod in animation, like a guy says something, the other guy nods, and takes a bump. it takes 3 panels for someone to nod in a comic book because you got to go up, you got to go down, and then you got to go back up. And then we realize, oh, that's a nod.
Yeah.
Don't do that because you just burnt panels.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So there was definitely a learning curve for me. And pacing as well. Like I was not ready for a 20-page pace, and even though I'd read comics for years, it hadn't sunk in. Like, wait, do I want to do 8 panels? Do I want to do 4 panels? Do I want to do 5 panels? What am I doing? How does this pace the best? What am I trying to tell? My friend Jeff King gave me a piece of advice that he got from Brian Azzarello, which is do 1 emotion per panel.
Yeah.
That's what you try to capture. 1 emotion per panel. Hit the page turn with a cliffhanger, and make people turn the page, right? So that's great advice.
Yeah.
But even then, by the time I got to my last 3 pages of my first Bizarro script, I was like, panel 15. And my editor was like, no. We're not making Gustavo do 15 panels on a page just because you paced your story wrong. Like, you got to go back, you got to look at it. Like, and we can do a to be continued. Like, you have more room.
Yeah.
So cut this, give this some space. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the end, I was like, oh God. Panel 18. And he's like, no.
Watchmen panels on there?
Yes.
You're like, what the hell?
He's like,
You're not
no,
out
that's not what we're doing. So I was like, oh, thank you for saying that.
That's funny.
That's your learning process.
That was my learning process,
That's how it goes, but it's an exciting process.
And
too.
let me call out Gustavo Duarte is my artist for Bizarro, who was not just a spectacular artist, but funny, collaborative. Like, he is absolutely my partner and co-storyteller in this. We both had just the world's greatest time doing it.
Yeah.
It is not him dictating to me or me dictating to him. We were absolutely partners. When we were working on that, we would text each other every single day. I'd be sending him new jokes. He would be writing me pictures that he was sketching of characters. Like, we had the best possible time. Very much a partner and a brother.
That's
so,
awesome.
All credit to Gustavo.
I cannot wait to read it. Yeah. It's going to be great.
Do you guys need me?
So yeah, that's just an exciting process getting in with comics and animation too. You're doing what you love and what you're passionate about.
A dream come true. Like, I will tell you this. We going? DC Comics sent me like a t-shirt in the mail before I went to San Diego. And they were like, hey, if you're on any panels, you could wear this shirt. And I was like, oh my God, they sent me swag.
Yes.
I was so excited. I was like, I am on the list for a comic company to send me something for free.
Yes.
And my wife was like, you can't tell anyone how excited you get for free stuff or they will never pay you again. And I was like, yeah, that's true.
That is, yeah. As
she was like,
putting on his Batman hat.
I was like, you can't tell them how excited you get for that stuff, or they will literally just pay you in swag from the rest of your life. And it's true. I get so incredibly excited about that kind of stuff, and it's so lame. I know it's so lame, but I love it.
No, I totally hear where you're coming from.
Right.
Because you see that, and you're like, they value me so much that I am an ambassador.
That's right.
They look at me as the face of DC Comics.
The Comicasters will return after these words.
Hey guys.
You're going somewhere very bad.
And? Complete the mission, you get time off your prison sentence. Fail the mission, you die.
She seems nice. What a ride! I'm bored. Play with me.
Stay evil, Dollface. Seriously, the hell's wrong with you people?
We're bad guys. It's what we do.
Suicide Squad, rated PG-13. Experience it in IMAX 3D.
Okay, we are back here with Heath Corson. We had to take an abrupt station break. Just we had a special guest visitor that could not be audio recorded. So during that time, unfortunately, Derek Ross had to leave the con. So I'm still here with the great Heath Corson, who
can't get rid of me.
Very gracious.
Get rid of me.
That's okay. Very gracious to spend some time talking with us. Longest and, dare I say, best interview so far.
Oh, come on.
Thank you.
Longest for sure.
So as this, we're going to wrap the last couple questions up.
Yeah,
So Heath can do some stuff at the con. As a staple here on the Comicasters, we kind of do a regular segment called Comic Clash.
Okay.
We kind of pitting two characters unlikely to cross companies, universes to fight. Our theme was kind of the Suicide Squad, as we were talking about the panel we had a couple days ago. And if it was you yourself picking two villains from, let's just say Marvel or DC, or it could be any universe, for example, to fight off, and we'll have the fans vote on this. Which two villains, if you've never seen fight, would you pick and why?
Well, I'll tell you, I got this. I'm going to actually lift a suggestion that somebody said at one of the panels I was at that I thought was so smart, which was who would win, the Joker versus Venom. Ooh. And I was like, ooh, that's so good. Oh. And then in my mind, I started writing it, and I was like, what would that be? Ooh. And I was like, here's what would happen in my mind. Yeah. Venom would be taking out the Joker, just totally messing him up until the Joker basically communicated with the symbiote and told him, I'm a much better host for you. I'm a much better host for you than this other guy. And then all of a sudden you'd see the symbiote slipping off of whoever it was on, and then you would get Venom Joker. Oh. And then we'd see Venom Joker start to figure out and go, finally!
That's a good Joker, Mark Hamill Joker.
Thank you.
Have you watched it? Obviously you're not going to tell us anything or whatever, but have you watched Killing Joke?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, they have not shared that.
I have not seen it yet.
But how stoked are you that, like we are then as
really
a fan,
excited
to see this
Killing
Joke finally adapted?
I know.
Oh, with Mark Hamill, Kevin Conroy, all the greats are back for this.
It's going to be really neat.
This is going to be intense. So they just don't. They want to spoil it for you or anybody. We're just kind of keeping you out of it.
You know what? I might get to go see it at the Comic-Con screen.
Oh, okay.
Like I might go to that, but yeah, that might be it.
Yeah. A little tease there. That's cool. Can't wait. We can't wait. Yeah, that's cool. No, we had one other guest host on there say Carnage and Joker.
Carnage Joker would be good too. Yeah.
But no, you've explained it a little bit more with this one than he did, and I like the Joker one. Yeah, we'll see what the fans
I think
say.
the key is the Joker stealing the symbiote, and I think that'd be neat.
It's a little nice. That's the writer in you. You know, that's the little plot twist we got there. As also too, we just started on our shows, Heath. We kind of do a new recommended reading segment. So, what's in Heath Corson's pulse set? What stories are inspiring you today? And what would you besides, of course, your great work, of course, but what are you still reading today, or what would you recommend for a new fan?
I would say a couple things that I just picked up that I adored. Obviously, Rebirth 1, I was a big fan of. I think it's a great jumping on point. Let me also say the new Black Panther #1 I thought was spectacular. I'm a big fan of Tom King, who just took over Batman. I haven't read his new Batman, but I will recommend his Vision miniseries, as well as his Omega Man miniseries, and the work that he did on Grayson with Tim Seeley was fantastic, as well as my friend Steve Orlando and his run on Midnighter, which I thought was great. And let me also say David Walker on Power Man and Iron Fist, which I'm loving, as well as Squirrel Girl. I'm a huge Squirrel Girl fan. I think they do such a great job of that book.
My friend's wife was walking around with one of the better Squirrel Girls out. I don't know if you had seen a couple.
Huge Squirrel Girl fan.
Yeah, big puffy tail and everything. Yeah, she's great.
So fun.
Yeah, that's
so fun.
That's cool. That's a big list. So obviously we got a lot of stuff for fans to sink their teeth into that Heath has suggested. Yeah, DC Rebirth. I'm excited to see where they go from there. I like the edict that Jeff Johns, not just in comics but in the movie universe, that glimmer of hope. I think he's going to steer the ship where it needs to go.
I hope so.
I'm excited to see where it leads to. I love some of the bringing back the legacies. We talked, I think, a little bit about that before on the panel. Bringing back that legacy stuff to the DC universe is much sorely needed.
Agreed.
Sorely needed. We're pretty much at the last of it. I have to ask you this, though, Heath.
Yeah?
Because we're both Chicagoans.
Uh-oh.
Cubs or Sox?
Cubs.
Yeah, Cubs. Northsider, yeah. And I love the Cubs first, too. Even though I'm wearing a White Sox hat, I have the Cubs back. So
nice.
I just love Chicago.
You're a man of two worlds.
I love Chicago. They're both two different leagues.
I know.
That's the thing. Like, the Cubs' enemy is the St. Louis Cardinals.
No kidding.
The Sox have adapted the Cubs as their number one enemy. Maybe some jealousy or something. But I would love to see them go at it in the World Series if the Sox hold on. I know the Cubs are going to continue to do good this year.
Oh, man, from your mouth. Knock wood. Who knows?
It'll just be incredible.
It seems that every year is our year. That's
Last
the
year
mantra.
Was so heartbreaking when we got to the Mets pitching. We just shut down.
It's the mantra of the Cubs. This is our year.
Yeah, maybe finally. Maybe finally. We'll see. Two Cubs fans talking comics, baseball now. Just want to thank you, Heath, and want to let the fans know how can they follow you, where can they like your page or anything.
The best way to get a hold of me is to follow me on Twitter at Heath Corson. I also have an Instagram account which is at H Corson, and those are the two easiest and best ways to get a hold of me and shout at me and tell me what you like, what you don't like, and what you think of King's Quest and Bizarro and the movies
and all the great stuff coming up. So yes, and obviously if the next con that comes up there and Heath's on there, and San Diego Comic Con you'll be at, right?
I'll be at San Diego. Yes.
Then come up to booth. Heath is super approachable. He will talk comics. He'll talk anything with you, and one of the nicest guys we met here at the con, and just just excited to see what you do next.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, it's a pleasure and honor to sit here and talk with you, Heath. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. So we're going to wrap this show up here on Comicasters with our special guest Heath Corson. Hopefully you enjoyed the show just as much as us. As always, we can be reached at Comicasters on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook.com/Comicasters. As always, all of our shows are archived on thebeststation.net. Thanks to our good friend and personal longtime producer Craig Best, who will have edited the show up. So I'm giving you some great images of all of Heath's stuff, both animated DVDs, Bizarro, King's Quest, all that stuff. Thanks to Craig for throwing those images in there, and thanks to all of our guests here at Phoenix Comic Con. We're wrapping this up here, 2016. Great time we had here, and we want to thank Heath as well as all of our special guests. So thank you all for listening, and we will see you and talk to you soon.
You have been listening to the Comicasters on the Best Station. Thank you for listening, and join us again next time.
Hey guys.
You're going somewhere very bad.
And? Complete the mission, you get time off your prison sentence. Fail the mission, you die.
She seems nice. What a ride. I'm bored. Play with me.
Stay evil, Dogface. Seriously, the hell's wrong with you people?
We're bad guys. It's what we do.
Suicide Squad, rated PG-13. Experience it in IMAX 3D.
You are rolling along the rock block. Thanks for listening to the Best Station, because you know good music comes from all generations and eras.
Japanese women, real women, they have not forgotten. Or German women in the doorway, or even beetles from Siam. What will you have, bending and smiling and closing wounds men have made? But American women will kill you just like they tear a lampshade. American women care less than a dime. They've gotten derailed. They're too nervous to make good. Always smiling, belly aching, disillusioned or corrupt. But oh Lord, say the Japanese women. There was this one
that I fell, rolled over, got some good air home above the tea, ferocious hillside, yellow malfunction. We no need feel warm. We can go out in a mindset to all feed someone. sink. Slow motion can't hold my breath long. In water's deep, aloha house last when we'll be sunken. And no, there's no one to get me out from under. So help me someone. Make my chest ache. I will stay awake. I will think of love, think of truth, think of why I never really said enough. I never was.